Crosshatch. Today I'm going to just give you guys an update on a transfer that I'm doing to secondary for the Witbier. Now Witbier we've shown the brew session on some past episodes, and this is a beer that I make normally each spring and summer a couple times a year. Normally I do a 5-gallon batch and put it on tap. Now in this case I've done a 10-gallon batch, and I'm going to actually transfer all 10 gallons into secondary, and I'm trying something new this time. I'm going to be adding some lavender, which I got this online from My Spice Sage. I'm not, of course, going to be using this whole bag. I'm only going to use 2 tablespoons per 5 gallons. And then I'm also going to be using some of this peach puree, 1 can per 5 gallons. And so I'm going to put that in secondary for probably just 1 week with the puree and the lavender, and basically make a lavender peach wit if it all comes out well. Now I did have several issues that came up in this brew session. Let's see, first I had a boil over because I wasn't paying attention, and with the 10-gallon batch I had a lot less headspace in my pot, and turned away for a second and it was over the side. I put too many hops in for the first hop charge. I had my digital scale set up incorrectly, and I only needed, I think, 1.5 ounces of the Hallertau hops for the first charge. I think I put in around 2.5 ounces, maybe even a little bit more. So I don't know, that's going to raise the IBUs for a wit by adding a whole extra ounce in there. Then I add honey to this wit, as you saw in the original brew session for doing this beer. And in 10 gallons, normally I would put a ½ pound. But again, not paying attention, I put in a whole pound of honey. Now, a whole pound of honey, or I should say, that extra ½ pound probably would have raised my starting gravity by 0.07. Now, that's where the last problem comes in, is that I didn't take a gravity reading. So I don't know what my original gravity was. Now, by general standard of all the times I've brewed this, I pretty much always come out at 1.053 for my starting gravity. So if I add 7 points to that for the extra honey, I'm just going to guesstimate that my starting gravity was 1.060. And so that's what we're going to go with, and I'll take a gravity reading today. Because of that extra honey, I had a high fermentation rate initially. I came in the next morning after brewing and looked at the buckets here, and these two airlocks were going nuts. There was all kinds of yellow foam and everything coming up because it was just fermenting like crazy from the extra honey. And so I had to quick put together a blow-off tube for each of them. I ran it into a gallon jug. I'm going to throw a picture up here so you can see what that looks like. But I kept the blow-off tubes into the jug with the iodophor solution. I ran that, or I had that set up for the first week of fermentation. By that time, the fermentation process had settled down a little bit, and so I took that off and put the airlocks back on. And so today we're doing the transfer. So I'm going to go sanitize my carboys and add the puree and the lavender, transfer that over, and I'll take a gravity reading before I do that. But I'm going to actually rack the beer on top of the lavender and the peaches. One last thing is that there are different ways that you can add lavender or other spices to your secondary. Some people make a tea, or even soak it in vodka and then add the vodka mix with their spice to secondary or even into primary. I'm not doing any of that. I'm actually just putting 2 straight tablespoons in. I'm not pasteurizing it or anything. I think that, I mean, this is already, this is a sealed bag, clean, and I've already, this has already got alcohol in it, so it should I shouldn't have any problems with infection is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, transfer with the auto siphon, and then we'll take a quick wrap up. Okay, so we got both of the 5-gallon buckets transferred over into secondary. The gravity ended up being at 1.010, which is right in the range of what it should be. So basically, on the guesstimations from what the starting gravity would have been, it would have dropped from 1.060 to 1.010. So probably going to be 6 point some odd percent ABV. I'll have to figure it up on the calculator. It'll stay in there for a week, and then next week we will bottle it and actually cork the bottles, and we'll video that segment then. In the meantime, relax, don't worry, and have a homebrew, and we'll catch you next time on Homebrewers Out.